Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel. Welcome to episode 3 of our tiny cloakroom build, or tiny WC build. We have got some big updates for you this week and we're going to make some really good progress on this room. Thank you so much for all of your love in last week's video again. We are so grateful. I'm sorry that last week's video wasn't really that much of an update on the WC itself. It was more just fitting the pocket door and the handle, and then we were kind of onto the fire door and skirting in this room. But I promise you that this video is going to be much more dominated by the WC itself. We are going to be covering the first fix plumbing, we are going to be plasterboarding the area out fully, and then we're also going to be plastering the room. Along with this, we are also going to be throwing in some decisions for the design choices of this room. So I would really appreciate your guys' opinions and thoughts on some of our ideas for that, and that's going to be a little bit later on in the video. But for now, I'm going to give you an update on the progress, how the room is looking at the moment. And I'm also going to show you some other progress that we've had in this room. But please be prepared, it is quite chaotic in here at the minute. The chaos is temporary, but this is just the thing with renovations. I feel like, especially when you're living in the renovation, there's just not enough room for everything to be stored anywhere. So thank you all for sticking with us in episode 3 of this series. Let's get into showing you some of the progress so far. Starting off in the living room, we have got the radiators fitted. Absolutely obsessed with these, and I'm so glad that we did go for the raw metal finish in the end that Lloyd suggested. They are beautiful. I feel like they fit the vibe of the room so well. I also wanted to show you guys a little demonstration of the blinds because I realised I didn't in the last video. And also, if you are interested in these blinds, this is not an ad, by the way. We did get gifted these blinds to work with Blinds to Go over on Instagram, but this is not part of the collaboration by any means. I just think they're brilliant and I wouldn't want you guys to miss out on this deal. We don't earn any commission on it or anything. But at the minute, they've got an early Black Friday deal on and they've got 50% off electric upgrades. So if you are thinking of having electric blinds, now is the time. Like, you wouldn't want to miss out on this. So you can see all 3 windows in this clip. And here's my phone. So if we just press close on the blinds, how cool is that? And they can all go in sync as well. Incredible. You kind of get the idea, but I can just press stop, open them again. Brilliant. And they can also be controlled individually as well. They don't have to all go in sync at the same time. So say, for example, if the kind of sun was low in the sky over the kitchen, then I might just want to bring the kitchen down rather than all 3 of them. So yeah, brilliant. If you do want to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description for these. These are the antiviral blackout alabaster roller blinds. That is a bit of a mouthful. I'll leave the actual product name and everything that we went for in the description below if anyone is interested. Let's get on to the WC. It's kind of difficult to show you. It probably doesn't look any different, but let's go through it. So Mark has been here this week to first fix the room. So as you can see, we've got the hot and the cold for the sink vanity, and we've got the waste for the sink vanity here. And we have also got the toilet waste here and the cold water feed here. So the first fixing is done. As you can see, the plasterboards are already put back on the wall. Yesterday, unfortunately, I wasn't here, but Lloyd has sound slabbed and put the plasterboards back on. So I'm afraid I didn't get that on film for you guys, but it's not a very interesting task anyway. But sound slabbing is, I'll insert a clip because I have got some from when we were doing the higher section of this wall, because there's obviously no pipes in the higher section. But basically it's just sound insulation. We feel strongly about the fact that you need lots of sound insulation in a bathroom, especially in a living space, because you just don't want to be able to hear anything. So yeah, that is the progress on the WC. The next job is going to be to plasterboard the pocket door wall. So we're going to have to pick up some plasterboards for that, and we're also going to then fit them. But once they are fitted, I can then get on with plastering the walls. If you don't know, I am a DIY plasterer. Around a year ago now, me and Lloyd were working on the loft conversion. I'll insert some clips. And the next task that we had to do was to plaster the whole area. And we just couldn't find a plasterer to come. We'd had lots of conversations and people saying, yeah, I'll come and do it for you. People never turned up. And it was going to set us back so far that we decided to just give it a go ourselves. And it was the best decision that we've made, honestly. Lots of people were telling us, don't do it, including our family, friends and family, going, you're going to ruin it. We were quite scared, but we started off small. We did some window reveals to begin with. It doesn't really matter if you mess them up, you know, it's not the end of the world. And then we just slowly moved on to the bigger walls, and the rest is history. We'll be needing to pick up some gypsum for that. And yeah, once that's done, it'll be onto the mist coat and painting and paneling. So I'll run through some of the design ideas that we've got with you guys later on in the video, and it'd be great if you guys could help us with some of those decisions. I shall pick you up when we start the first task. Good morning, guys. It is Saturday morning.
Hello, good morning.
We are on the way to get plasterboards, first job on the list, so that we can start plasterboarding the wall in the WC with the pocket door in it. And then we'll be on to plasterboarding and then plastering. Do some scrimming first as well, bit of preparation. Guys, I've got pink Scrim tape. The guy in the shop said all the plasterers use this. So I thought, well, I'm a plasterer. So we've gone for this. It is, oh my God, look, it's even called Plasterer's Pink Scrim. Some of the other stuff we bought is we got this expanding foam, which is fire grade. So that's for the fire door. And we also got some more plasterboard screws. These are 32mm long, I think. Yeah. So this is what the WC room is looking like now, as I would have shown you with the first fix stuff all in place. So this is the wall that we need to put the plasterboard on. So it'll just kind of go up into these little lips within the pocket door frame, and then obviously all the way up and above the doorway itself down here as well. So Lloyd's just measuring up for that stuff at the moment. 1 and a bit plasterboards, is it?
Yeah.
We've got a full-sized one, but it's just, yeah, a bit of an awkward shape. So Lloyd's just getting on with measuring out the plasterboards for this area. So here's the first plasterboard marked up, ready to cut. So this piece down here is what's going to be cut out, and I'm assuming that this majority piece here is to the left of the doorway, and then that little piece there goes above the doorway. Am I right?
You sounded right. I didn't watch what you said, but it sounded right.
Okay, so we just cut them with the Stanley, kind of score it. Well, can we score and snap with this? Not really.
I'll try to.
How are you going to snap that bit?
I'll show you now.
Now what?
Stand it up, I think.
Bosh!
Hold
Just
it.
cutting the back of it now. It's a good clean cut, isn't it?
Fresh board, isn't it?
Ah. It's going to be hard, quite difficult, I think,
in there.
for me, yeah, to get it in there and for me to try and film it as well. So let me just see if I can prop the camera up somewhere. But it's the wrong way around.
Yeah. Hold me like that now. Oh.
That'll go, won't it?
That was painful. I'll do all that out if I can go fit. Excellent.
You do it now?
I just marking where the braces are.
So that's where we screw into, is it?
Yeah. Try and miss the door like.
So basically on the other side, Lloyd's just marking where these metal braces are, the horizontal ones, just so that if you imagine with the plasterboard on the top of this, that's how we screw into. There's special short screws for that. Is that what they are for?
Yeah. please.
That's what that looks like. So that's much shorter than the average plasterboard screw so that it doesn't go into the door. You can just about see the depth of it there. So just checking now that the door doesn't catch the point of the screw, but it all looks fine.
How many have we got?
How many screws? Yeah, that's a good point.
How many are we supposed to be putting in each?
Shall I count them? We've just discovered that this is where the plasterboard kind of ends, so we're just cutting some more wood now to make a noggin to go in here so we can screw the plasterboard and join it a bit more solidly so that it doesn't crack once we put the plaster on. So Lloyd's just measuring out the noggins now and gonna take the saw outside and cut them. These noggins are now fitted and Lloyd has fixed the plasterboard onto them, so now he's just got to cut a small slither of plasterboard to go at the top there. We don't have anything to fix the plasterboard from this side, like on this side obviously we'll fix into there, but there's nothing here, so I've just cut some kind of more noggins to go 2 up here, 2 down there. How many should I put in each one? 2?
2 in each one, top, bottom, so we're twisting.
So obviously I have to screw from the other side, do I?
Yeah, so from the stair side in.
How am I going to do that? And I'm going to have to hold it in place at the same time, is it? Jesus, it's a bit technical for me.
1/4 of the way in then.
What?
Right, so now you can see it, if you look now.
Yeah.
So just go back a little bit now. Just right. So hold that now with one hand, because once the screw catches it, it'll pull itself in. Right. Once the screw gets it, the screw will hold it for you then.
Lloyd has just reminded me that one of the plasterboards that we've used is a really old board, which I think we bought like maybe over a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago. We're going to seal that with SBR. Here's the SBR bond.
Bosh.
Time for brekkie.
This is a jam kit for the pocket door. So we got this is like just dry fitted now. So we'll set, you can't see it from there, we'll set the depth of this, mask it up, and then Ellie can plaster up to this end. So we'll set that to 3 mils and then skim level with it to finish in.
Yeah, I just mask it up probably.
Yeah, and we'll skim up to it.
Lloyd's going to fit that now and then we shall give you another update. Lloyd is now just cutting off the foam. We always use foam where we've got like some little gaps. So for example here is a bit of a gap, and then it's just easier to plaster over the foam then rather than trying to fill a hole with plaster. So Lloyd's going to do that. I'm going to scrim up the walls and scrim up the joins, and then it'll be time to get a mix on. Finished scrimming up this room. So we've got all of the corners scrimmed, all of the joins scrimmed. So next up it's time to actually mix the plaster. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that now. I'll be using this big bucket, and then the tools that I've got pan board or the hawk. I've got a bucket trowel. I've got my plastering trowel. And then I've also got this 6-inch brush, which sometimes we use for the second coat. Then we've got the paddle, which attaches onto the drill. So that's the essentials. I've also got the speed skim. Don't usually use this anymore, but it has come to the rescue on many occasions. So always keep that nice and handy. So we're going to mix the plaster first. So I've got this very fitting jug. I'm not sure how many of these it's going to take, but we're going to put the water in first and then add the gypsum. So let's go. I'm just trying to do enough for one wall to begin with and just for the first coat. So we're going to start off with that amount, see how we get on. Right, so I'm going to start with this wall. We've got a few obstacles to get around the soil pipe here and the cold water feed. I'm going to start in the bottom left corner and work my way up and to the right because I'm right-handed. So I'm going to go and get the plaster now and hopefully I can fit everything in this room. So I've got my hawk / handboard, as Kirk calls it, and I've got my trowel, and then I've got my plaster in the bucket, and I've got my bucket trowel. So I'm going to take a dollop of plaster to begin with. Dollop of plaster on the board, and then prime the board just by doing this to every corner so that the plaster kind of sticks easier. Ooh, bit limited for space in here. So then now that the board is all primed, I'm going to take the first dollop. As I said, I'm going to start in the bottom left corner because I'm right-handed. So we're going to work our way up and over. Dollop on. Up to the wall. And put it on. I'm not going right to the bottom yet because, as Kirk says, take a bit and you go in neat then. So I'm just going to spread this about a little bit. It's as simple as that, really. Keep repeating the process. I don't know, if you guys have any questions, let me know, and then maybe in a future video I can answer them. But I guess it's important to shake the plaster once it's on your hawk so then it makes a vacuum and it doesn't fall off. And then when you want to put it on your trowel, you turn the board, not the trowel. And that just works a bit better. So I'm just going to go over the same thing until we cover the wall, because this is the first coat, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. So I'll probably set this to time lapse now, and then I'll come back to you on the second coat. I think that's the best, isn't it?
So while Ellie is plastering in there, I've some slab at the top of this, cut the plasterboard so that can go on next, and she's in here. What's she doing? She's over there. Where are you? How do you drive this camera? Oh my word. There we go.
Lloyd, let loose of the camera.
Somewhat. That's not very good. We'll leave that for you.
Sorry guys, I kind of abandoned you after the first coat because the camera battery was dying and the plaster was going off pretty quick. So, update, we have now second coated. It's not looking amazing with this light shining on it from the side. Hang on. That's better. We've now second coated. I have troweled down 3 times and polished this wall, and I actually had enough, you would have seen in the first coat, to do this wall as well. So that's those done. So I'm going to be doing this wall next. So what I'll do is I'll do the first coat without filming it because you guys know what that's going to look like. And then I shall show you the second coat, how it's mixed, what the mixture is supposed to look like, and how we put it on. So I'll see you there. In the meantime, Lloyd has our sound slabs in here and plasterboarded, and now he's even scrimmed it up, ready for me to plaster. I hope you're not expecting me to do that today, Mush.
Come on. You can move in tomorrow. What are you looking at?
What goes here then?
What goes there? A jam kit.
Oh right, we just haven't put that bit in, yeah.
Next job now. It just sits in there.
Oh, got you.
And we'll set that out now.
So I'm going to plaster this wall. Lloyd's going to jam kit.
Ellie's doing the first coat on that wall now. After she's done the others, you're connected now.
I'm connected now. Yes, I'm doing the first coat, but I've mixed a bit too much, so I'm just going over it now again to try and get as much on the wall. And then when I do a second coat, I'll go through the process with you.
And while she's been doing that, I've finished sound slabbing this wall, plasterboarded this, scrimmed that, put this side of the jam kit on. And now I'm just going, I got to fill around the fire door with some of this stuff, which is just fire grade expanding foam. Got to fill any gaps, so I'm going to fill that up now.
So I have just finished putting the first coat on now, and now I'm going to mix up for the second coat. But something I wanted to tell you, a mistake that I've made before, do not be tempted to just water down your existing mix, your first mix. Make sure you completely clear out your bucket and start again, because if you just kind of water down what you've got and mix again in with the existing mix in the bucket, it just completely zaps the moisture out of it and it's a disaster. So don't be tempted to do that. I'll show you the second mix now once I've mixed it. So usually for the second coat you need exactly half the amount of water as what you did for the first coat. So I almost ran out, so I'm going to just do one and a bit of these this time. So it is going a little bit dark now, so I hope you can see this, but this is the consistency of how I do my second coat. Oh, if I can point the camera in the right direction. It's pretty watery, but it's smooth. This is just how I like to do it. I think maybe this would be a little bit too thin for some people, but this is what works for me because I'm not the quickest at getting it on the wall, and it just gives you a little bit more time to play with. So that's what it's looking like, nice and smooth. Make sure you mix it for long enough so that there's no lumps left. And this is what the wall is looking like, first coat. You can see all of the trowel marks and stuff, but the best thing to think about with the first coat is literally just to get it on the wall. Don't worry about the smoothness of it at this point. That's what I've been telling myself anyway. So I'm going to pop this light back in here now. I've been taken out because it's really warm. And I just think, like, is that going to be making my plaster go off faster? Probably. So let's set this up, and then I'll leave this on real time so I can just tell you a few things for the first few kind of strokes that I'm putting on, and then we'll pop you on time lapse. What you should be able to do, how you know it's ready to second coat, is you should just be able to imprint a little bit, and you can see my fingerprints there. So it's not wet, like it's not completely coming off, but it's still a little bit tacky. Let's go. Make sure you clean your tools as well from the first coat, because again, it can just suck the moisture out. So we're gonna get a dollop on the trowel. Remember, give the trowel a shake, and then it'll make a vacuum and it won't fall off. Right. This is the hardest part about working in this room. It's tiny. Get that onto the trowel. Go a little bit higher than the bottom. You don't want to go right to the bottom straight away, because then it's just gonna tip all on the floor. So we can smooth it from this point, and we can take a bit and go in neat at the bottom there. Again, we're just getting it on the wall at this point. Work on smoothing it once it's on and covered the whole wall. So I'm just going to keep doing the same thing, repeating the same process and spreading it out across the whole wall. So you can see the first coat is starting to go off a little bit more in the corners here. And as I said before, if you're right-handed like me, you want to start in the left hand, well, I start in the bottom left corner and kind of work up and to the right. As you can see, I swipe from bottom left to top right, basically. The toe of the trowel and the heel of the trowel. So the toe doesn't leave a mark, but the heel does. So I'll show you what I mean now. See that? There's this line here, but there's no line up there. So it means you can work your way across doing that motion. As you can see, it's going on really smooth, a lot smoother than the first coat goes on because it's thinner. Okay, so now that the second coat is on, it's time to do the first of 3 trowel downs. So I trowel down 3 times and then I polish once. So what that means is we're going to trowel the whole thing, get rid of any trowel marks that we can see and just get it as smooth as possible. So if there's any imperfections, this is kind of like the last chance to resolve them. And then the final step, polishing, is just to shine everything up once it is as smooth as possible. For polishing, don't really wet the tools, but make sure you clean them. So I need to clean this, and then we'll go in with the first trowel down. So let's see if we can see anything. I don't know how much you guys are going to see on there, but we've got some marks here, we've got marks here, so we're just going to go over everything with a bit of pressure just to get rid of those trowel marks. And as you can see, they are disappearing with not too much force. So we're just gonna go over the whole thing, just as we applied the second coat. And remember, we're doing this 3 times, so it doesn't have to be perfect on the first trowel. Okay, so now you can't really see any of the trowel marks. The final step is to polish it. So I'm going to clean my trowel again, and then I'm going to spray the wall and spray my trowel with water and just get it nice and shiny. And this is the finished result of the plastering. So we have got it as smooth as we can. As you can see, these other walls are already starting to dry. So that just solidifies the fact that we thought that that board was a little bit old. So yeah, again, already starting to dry. This one, you can see it's kind of like absorbing more moisture. That's weird, it kind of looks like a person waving. That's it for today. It is now the next day, so it's Sunday now. We got the majority of the plastering done yesterday and the plasterboarding. So I'll show you what's left to do in there now. So Lloyd's just masking this up, ready for me to plaster this final wall. And this is what the other walls are looking like. So they are drying out. They always look really weird when they are first drying. So I'm gonna plaster that wall, and then I think the other big job of the day, which we're gonna try and do, is cut up the path outside. This is where our soil pipe waste is going out, and then obviously we've got the sink waste as well, but they all go out this side of the house. So this up here is where the WC is through there. You can just about see it. And so on our house, all of the plumbing comes out this side. This, you can see the core hole here, is where we've drilled out for the waste to come from the bathroom.
So when we done, this is the downstairs bathroom.
Yeah.
Then that's the kitchen, that's from the ensuite. So everything runs there. And then it's all joined under the path and goes over to the main
sewer over there, and the manhole and the waste drainage, everything.
So basically that one's going to come out, come down, go into the path the same, and come along under the path and join into
this one here.
Yeah, somehow we'll join it under there.
We found a slow worm. Look at him. Should I pick him up and take him, or?
Huge.
I remember our chicken. Oh, it feels weird. I'm trying to save you. Any more creatures? He's got one leg missing. Oh, come on, Lizzie, in the hedge. Can you see him? Back to work. Plastering has now been completed. This is what the room is looking like. You will have already seen these walls. So you can just see it's starting to dry out in little patches there. Quite pleased with how this plaster's gone on actually. So here is the trench Lloyd has dug. So we cut it up with this orange big masonry saw. So guys, that is the end of this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to the end, please do like the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. And we shall see you in the next one, where we will be mist coating, paneling, and painting and making some decisions on the wallpaper for the WC. So I'll see you then. Bye.